This farm near Landenberg, Pennsylvania has been in operation for more than 200 years. It's been run by a member of the Hoops family since 1854. Today, Barclay Hoops raises dairy cows on the land.
I just love this land and farm, and so do my children. So hopefully it'll continue on. And it's preserved, so that's a good part of it.
And although it's miles from the Delaware border, these idyllic hills play a big role in the quality of drinking water for thousands of Delawareans. Hidden at the bottom of this valley, this little trickle joins with dozens of others like it on the way to eventually become the White Clay Creek. But as the streams grow in volume, they also pick up nutrients, sediment, and other pollutants along the way. That's a problem for companies like Suez Water, which takes water from the White Clay Creek, treats it, then delivers it to 100,000 Delaware customers. Because of this stream's close proximity to the Hoops dairy farm, an organism called Cryptosporidium has the potential to get in the water.
It's a parasite, lives in the cow's intestinal tract, and when they do what they do, it gets into the water. But if you keep the cows out of the water and they're not producing it in the water stream, then you're not having to take it out when it gets down to the treatment plant.
I'm not the man. There's the.
No, you're the man.
Here they are, all here. All these guys.
Suez has been working with farmers like Hoops and other groups to move livestock away from the water.
There's no farmer that I know of that wants to pollute the water. And there's a finite amount of water, fresh water in the world, and we gotta keep it clean.
To do that, Hoops is working with Red Tail Restoration to plant trees that will help create a 100-foot buffer around the water source.
Sure. Well, this is great because we're involved with a number of different entities that are all facilitating a really healthy ecology, which is really exciting to see. So here we have a farm where the water, as we all know, is running into the stream off of a dairy operation. As it goes in, it has an opportunity to percolate through the trees and get cleaner as it goes into those streams, creating cleaner water downstream in Delaware and into ultimately the Delaware Bay.
It didn't get like this overnight. It's not going to get better overnight.
To see how quickly the work is paying off, Stroud Water Research Center is monitoring the stream.
So that's important so we can begin to understand the total amount of material of other things that are in the water that come out of this valley. And then over time, we can analyze the quality of water, of how it changes in response to the restorations, the things we're changing on the landscape.
For Suez, keeping parasites and other pollutants out of the water is much more efficient and economical than treating it further downstream.
So a number of years ago, we were facing a choice. To meet the regulations, we could either invest up to $20 million in our treatment plant to add treatment, which would have zoomed the cost up for customers, would have increased our carbon footprint, or we could invest upstream, $700,000 over 5 years to do these kinds of projects, and we reach the same goal of reducing pollution.
The Hoops project is just one of more than 24 water quality projects the company has undertaken.
Our resources, we can get a lot done together. No individual entity could shoulder that burden. But by working together and working with the landowners up here who have bought in because these environmental groups have been here for a long time and they trust them, it'll actually pay off in the end with a much less costly and a much more environmentally sustainable approach to reducing pollution getting into the source waters that we use to make drinking water.
About 10 miles north, workers are putting the finishing touches on another project to protect another source of Delaware's drinking water, the Red Clay Creek.
We're at the headwaters of the Upper East Branch of the Red Clay Creek up in East Marlboro Township in Chester County. And we're on a 90-acre farm where the stream pretty much begins. For example, in this farm, it's a horse farm, so we have a number of horses that are grazing each day. It's a good idea to keep them far back from the stream as you can, so one of our projects here is to put fencing in and keep them at least 35 feet away from the stream.
Just like the Hoops farm, trees will be planted along the water's edge at this horse farm. The trees will also help improve water quality downstream.
And there's many different myriad benefits to planting trees along streams. We have not just moving operations back and creating a buffer to help process and remove excess nutrients or pollutants that might come in there, but once the trees grow up, they shade the stream, they help buffer the temperature changes, They keep the stream water cooler, which can promote better fish communities or cold water fish communities.
With the buffer, the horses are still given access to the stream, but are limited from standing in the water long term. These projects all start with educating farmers and landowners on the impact their land can have on water quality.
All of the work we do is on private property, so the first step is to get the buy-in from the landowner. Nothing happens unless the landowner decides that this is something they want to do.
We've all got to be good neighbors. I couldn't farm here if I wasn't a good neighbor. And you just can't be a bad neighbor.